So this is the definition of a ugly ass cut. Whoo, man, just slap myself for even doing this. But hey, it's because I like you guys on the tube. But ouch. So anyway, let's do a forensics analysis of this disaster. When you're sawing fast, the world is good. Things are happy. The birds are chirping, the sawmill's singing, your heart's just beating, and everything's good. When you're sawing slow, your band's heating up, your band's wandering, your sawdust is packing. The birds are not happy, and the slugs are out. Don't saw like a slug, saw like a jackrabbit. Thanks for visiting our sawmill. This looks like it could be a nice one. There's the sound of the blade. He's running good. This one. I don't know if you can hear that sound of that band. I hope you can. We're going to sell some of these as mantles. So that's about a 4.5 by 10. And who wouldn't want to buy boards that look like that? Look at how smooth this cut is. Unbelievable smooth. Look at this. And look how much sawdust is not on these boards. I mean, look at this. No scraping, no nothing. I mean, you just saw me flip that one over. I don't even own a scraper. This is real life sawing. You want to spend money on a production sawmill. You don't want to waste time scraping sawdust. Ooh, Lordy, these are going to be pretty. And that was real speed sawing, and you'll hear that blade start singing. It's just as important to look at the old band before you take it off as the new band when you put it on. Yeah, the teeth are going to be dull. I've probably run maybe 1,000 board foot on this band. Look at the band. It's dead clean. You can actually see the roller marks on it, so you can tell I'm not making this up. This is a used band. That's what you're looking for. If you don't have that at the end of a sawing cycle and your band doesn't look like that and your rollers don't look like that, you ain't never going to saw fast. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. Sawing fast is critical to producing high-grade lumber. Not to mention, it looks cool. I've got other videos that talk about how to do this stuff to keep them clean, but if it ain't clean, fix it. All right, let's take this guy off. Let's put a new one on. You know, it's real easy to get cut doing this, so it's always a good idea to wear gloves. Yeah, I already noticed one problem. So look at my air pressure on my airbag. So some sawmills use a hydraulic ram, that's cool. But some use an airbag, and ever since I bought this mill, this airbag or something in this airbag tensioning system has leaked. I worked with Wood-Mizer a couple times. I just gave up. I've tried changing gauges and this and that. And yeah, you know, I'll fix it one of these days. But basically, look at the label. There's a lot of labels on a sawmill. Most don't matter, some do. This one is 83 PSI with no tension. If you look at my gauge, I'm not at 83 PSI. So I always keep an air hose handy because you need one. And I'm gonna pump this guy up real quick. Oh, can I reach it? Come on, baby. Got it. That's the doohickey, otherwise known as a Schrader valve. I don't know who Mr. Schrader was. He must have been famous because all those valves you see on tires and inner tubes that have that little pop-out thing, they're his. So we're gonna pump this guy up. Right about there. Put the little cap on it. I love having my airline retractable reel. Now we're just gonna pump this guy up, proper pressure. It says 85. I don't go over 90. And that's right about 88. You've heard me say it 100 times. Set your needle. So when you're at 12 o'clock, you got the right pressure. So this is another tip. Always watch your band pressure, especially if you have a hydraulic tensioner. As your band heats up, this will move sometimes every cut. So you'll have to readjust. Airbags are better because they have a lot more forgiveness when the band warms up. Main thing is adjust your gauge so that your needle is basically vertical, and you can see that from where you're sawing. I've mentioned that a bunch of times. That's critical. I used to have an LT40, had a hydraulic tension system, and when the band would warm up, I would have to go back and retension the band. Sometimes a good bit. You can't saw fast with an improperly tensioned band. If your drive belt's not right and tight, you're not sawing fast. Drive belt tension is so important that I leave the guard off because I'm the only one sawing here and nobody should be on this side of the world anyway. You need to buy a true Wood-Mizer or belt tension gauge, and you need to make sure that thing's adjusted correctly. Got my expensive fuel gauge here. You shake the tank until you can see the fuel. It's right about there. Pretty heavy log, probably a 2-footer. Here's another tip. You ain't gonna saw fast and flat if you don't have a 1/4 inch down tension at minimum. So everybody knows, obviously, if you're gonna start getting waves, the roller is designed to keep the band from riding up, because there's a roller right there. But there's not a whole lot that's gonna keep it from riding down. I do have these Wood-Mizer high performance blade guides that helps a little bit, but that's to keep it in capture, but that doesn't keep it riding on the band, because actually the guides never touch the band. So what do you do to keep the band from riding down if you start to get a dip or a dive? You've got to get a 1/4 inch, and check your manual, 1/4 inch of deflection from here to here. It's gotta come down. I'm exaggerating some, but not a whole lot. Comes off the wheel, it's got to come down. When you tension it up, it pulls the band up against the roller. You should feel it with the band tight. When your hand pushing the roller, you should see how it's gripping the band. You should see it engaging the band. Otherwise, you're not getting enough pressure on that roller and this band can drop down. Why does it matter to saw fast? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it gets your production rate up. That's important. It tremendously reduces the amount of sawdust that you have on your boards, and it keeps you from having to scrape sawdust. It provides a cleaner cut. It reduces band resonance. The faster you saw, the cooler your band's gonna stay because there's water in the log and the water acts as a coolant. So fast sawing is cool sawing. It looks cool, so I guess it's cool in multiple reasons. It typically will overcome some of the washboard and band resonance problems that you see in a lot of people's wood when they start to get a little band resonance. It looks like a washboard. The tried and true technique to remove that is to saw faster, and that increases the load on the band and it dampens the resonance out. However, that's typically indicative of another problem that I'm going to go into now. But faster sawing a lot of times will reduce your band resonance. Basically, there's a lot of reasons to saw fast. Now, what is one of the most important reasons you don't want to go slow? Say you're just slug sawing and you're just doing your thing. Well, the gullet of the teeth are designed to entrain the sawdust in the air and keep it in suspension, kind of like a snow globe when you shake it up, and that's supposed to eject the sawdust. Your teeth have about 22 thousandths set on each side. You can go measure them. Some teeth are more than others. So if you build up more than 22 thousandths worth of sawdust on one side of the band, when the shoulder of the band hits that sawdust, it's going to cause that band to drive. It's going to go up and down. There's no more clearance, right? A band looks like that. There's clearance. The teeth have a kerf that makes clearance for the band. If you overcome the clearance, if you clog it up with crappy sawdust, your band's not going to cut straight. So that's typically shown by your sawdust looks like packed flour or flour. Your sawdust should come out looking like cornmeal. The general rule is the higher the tooth angle, the faster it's going to cut. So a 10-degree tooth is going to cut faster than a 4-degree tooth. That's also based on the species of wood. So if you try to put a high-speed tooth like a 10-degree tooth in hardwood, it ain't going to work. By the same token, if you put a 4-degree tooth in softwood, you're wasting your time. You'll be packing sawdust because the tooth physically can't remove the sawdust fast enough. I kind of settle in on 7 degrees. Seem to work best for me. But that is something you need to do when you get a new sawmill, or if you're trying to optimize your mill. See which band works best in your sawmill. I had a really cool comment from a guy who said, he'd heard my videos and what to listen for. When you're sawing correctly, that band is going to sing to you. You'll know it. Some people call it an E flat. I don't know what it is. And he said that he thought he was sawing fast and flat until he dialed it up. And then the band started singing, and he said no more sawdust, flat cuts. Everything was cool. So that's typical what happens. You think you're sawing fast because you're running into a limitation one way or the other of the sawmill. You try to go faster and the band starts to wave. Well, that's a problem. You got the wrong band for the wood, or it's not, the sawmill ain't adjusted correctly. The reason you got high horsepower engines, or you spend extra money on your horsepower, is you need to be sawing at the limit of your horsepower. You need to be in the grunt of the engine. Now, I ain't saying you need to stall the engine. There's nothing worse on an engine than running it so hard that you stall it. I mean, that's bad. You never want to do that. But what you do want to do is get into where the governor kicks in and you hear the grunt. That means you're using the full horsepower that you paid for. If you're not feeling that, if you're not seeing it, if you're not watching that engine load up, why did you get the big engine to begin with? You should be able to use every piece of horsepower you got if your sawmill's set up right, your band's set up right, your blade loop's set up right, and everything's set up right. And I may even try to do one of those. I hate doing it because it is kind of hard on the engine, but I may try to overfeed on one of these. We'll see. Yeah. And if I destroy my mill, it's because you YouTube guys talked me into it. I'm not gonna. probably. But anyway, I'm going to try to cover all that as I'm sawing through this log. We'll see. So instead of me talking about all this crap, we're going to start sawing. And I'm going to try to narrate as we go. The sawmill's loud, the blower's loud, I'm loud. I'm trying to work on my audio, but you know, sometimes it's just hard to understand me because I'm Southern. So let's turn some stuff on and let's start making some sawdust. By the way, sawmills put out a tremendous amount of sawdust. Almost all ours goes down the hose through the sawdust chute. Now, as a general rule, I want to make the first couple cuts pretty slow because there's a lot of grease and manufacturing oil on the band. And if your first cut, you dig that bad boy in real hard, you may dismount it. It also lets me, damn, it's hard to talk with this mill going. That ain't keeping up. I don't like this. So sawing fast is relative. The wider the board, you're going to have to slow down some. Now this guy right here, let's measure him. And this is 20 inches. That's a big hunk of wood. And look at the sawdust. First of all, look at how smooth the cut is, right? I mean, it looks clean. I mean, almost no waves at all, flat and clean. Look at the sawdust. It looks like cornmeal. It brushes off. It's not packed. You can blow it off. This is what they should all come off looking like when you hit the right speed. So look at here. So I just separated these boards. Look how little sawdust is in there. I mean, you can, it's not bad. I mean, I didn't blow that off or hit it with a scraper. You can see the individual sawdust grains are thick. They look like cornmeal. Notice again how flat the saw cut is. I mean, that's flat. That's almost, I mean, that's beautiful. Flat, clean, fast. Again, the wood is wet, so the moisture in the board is helping cool the saw blade. That's probably 3 inches or so between revs. So this one, damn, I'm gonna saw this one slow and watch what happens. This is gonna be horrible. I actually dread doing this. Well, but I gotta do it. Look how pretty this board is. So, yeah, I'm not gonna saw this one slow. This board's too pretty. I mean, I like making YouTube videos, but not at the expense of destroying a good piece of wood. that sound? That's the sound of a band having fun. I'm gonna get another good one. I can't take that. Once more, let's look. You can see individual grains of sawdust. It's not hacked. Ay, ay, ay. All right. Yeah, this is painful. You can hear the fan fighting it even, hear it grinding. Ah. So this is the definition of a ugly ass cut. Whoo, man, just slap myself for even doing this. But hey, it's because I like you guys on the tube, but ouch. So anyway, let's do a forensics analysis of this disaster. First of all, I don't know if the camera's picking it up. I don't see how it couldn't. Look at this crap. Look at the washboard here. All up and down the cut. That's horrendous. I hope I can plane that out. Look how slow I'm going. You can see the T-spacing. Look at all this pack. I can't even hardly, stuff won't even come off. Packed sawdust. Ooh, that's nasty. Got my heart rate going just on how ugly that cut was. Don't like that at all. Packed sawdust. If I can get, look at this. Looks like packed flour. See that? I mean, it's sticking to the board. The depth of the packing sawdust is wider than the set of the tooth. So the tooth cannot eject this. All it can do is push it down like spackle. When you're seeing that, look at that. You are beyond too slow. See that? It looks like flour. Horrible. If you're getting that, yeah, don't. But I've seen boards in the past where this is just solid, or I've seen other people on YouTube where this is just a solid mass of powder. This board's horrendous. Oh, Elizabeth, I'm about to have a heart attack. I cannot stand looking at wood like this. Hopefully I'll be able to plane this board out. I just don't make enough money on YouTube. One video doesn't pay for one of these boards. I mean, I really don't know how else to describe it. Sometimes just let the big dog eat. You know what I'm saying? So this is due to band resonance right here, but again, you can fix it. But one of the easiest ways to fix it, watch, speed up. It's here, going slow. It's here, I've sped up. A lot of reasons for it. It's not the end of the world. I'm gonna keep sawing with it simply because if I go fast, it disappears. I mean, look at the difference. Band bounce, too slow, packing sawdust, problem. Right here, speed up, goes away, everything's good. I am gonna hide it. Maybe I'll flip it over so I don't have to look at it. That's what I'm gonna do. just for fun, let's look at the band after it's all over with. Look, again, I mean, mirror smooth, zero buildup at all. This thing's running great. There's a lot of reasons to saw fast with a sawmill. Getting rid of band resonance is one of them, but that's not really the real reason, because that indicates you've got another issue with your sawmill, or another 2 or 3 issues with your sawmill. But the reality of it is, when you're sawing fast, the world is good. Things are happy. The birds are chirping, the sawmill's singing, your heart's just beating, and everything's good. When you're sawing slow, your band's heating up, your band's wandering, your sawdust is packing. The birds are not happy, and the slugs are out. Don't saw like a slug, saw like a jackrabbit. I just need to stop looking at that stuff. It's just horrible. Saw straight, saw fast. Have fun while you're doing it. I'm gonna cover up some of this ugly cut so I don't have to look at it. Thanks for visiting our sawmill. Click on the links above to see more of our videos.